I welcome all of you to my YouTube channel, Sentence Master YouTube channel. Today in my video, I am going to show you how to make complex English sentences. Now, when we look at Sri Lankan learners of English as a second language, they have a great difficulty in understanding complex English sentence formation, and as a result, they find it very difficult to read any reference texts, and they are unable to do any comprehensive reference. And the other difficulty that they face is writing such sentences. When they go to write sentences, they find it difficult to form correct, clear, and meaningful English complex sentences. And as a result, they come down in most of the written text. Their performance suffers greatly in written texts, like essays and reports. So, the present method employed to teach them is just writing sentences with lines and lines, continuous lines. This is okay for proficient learners. But there's a group of slow learners who find it extremely difficult to understand complex English formation through lines. As complex English sentences are entangled with several clauses and several phrases running here and there. So they have main noun clauses linked to subordinate noun clauses, adjective clauses, and adverb clauses in a very complicated, tricky way. So I decided that slow learners cannot be taught in this same old method, and devised new methods using computer application. Here we use hierarchy charts and text boxes to display to these slow learners, especially slow learners, how English, especially complex English sentences are formed. So complex English syntax deals with main noun clauses and subordinate noun clauses, adjective and adverb clauses. So you may use hierarchy charts with text boxes to get the link words separately fixed to the two sentences. The first clause is presented in the horizontal order, that is the main noun clauses, and the subordinate noun clauses, adjective and adverb clauses, which are dependent on the main clause, are arranged according to the vertical order. So I use a range of colors to distinguish these different kinds of clauses so that the students who find it difficult to understand complex English sentences can learn the basic concepts involved in such sentence formation. Now let us proceed with the program, and let us start from step 1. From step 1 to step 3, I deal with main noun clauses and also only one main noun clause, and there are one subordinate noun clause, one subordinate adjective clause, and an adverb clause linked to the main clause. From step 4 to 6, I deal with two subordinate clauses linked to one main noun clause. And from step 7 to 9, there will be two main clauses and different kinds of subordinate clauses linked to them. And finally, all three kinds of subordinate clauses linked to main noun clauses in step 10. Now let us proceed from step 1. Now look at step 1. You can see one main noun clause and a subordinate noun clause. She admitted, the main noun clause. There is a link word that, which joins a subordinate noun clause which gives us the details of what she admitted. What did she admit? That she had made a mistake. So that she had made a mistake is the subordinate noun clause linked to the main noun clause. So in the hierarchy chart, we place the main noun clause she admitted on top and then link the subordinate noun clause in a vertical order. Now let us proceed to step 2. Here one main noun clause and a subordinate adjective clause. You can see the player who scored well died. The player blank died. So there is an adjective clause which describes the player starting with a relative pronoun who scored well. Who is a link word which is a relative pronoun. Who scored well is incomplete. There is some kind of idea, but that idea is grammatically incomplete. So once it's connected to the main noun clause, the player who scored well died, then it becomes a sentence. Now we proceed to step 3. In step 3, you have a main noun clause and a subordinate adverb clause. The student got up when the teacher came. So when the teacher came is an adverb clause which describes the action of getting up. At what time? When did the students perform this action of getting up? So these are called adverb clauses. So when we say when the teacher came, that is not a complete sentence. It's an adverb clause describing some main action in the main clause. Now we proceed to step 4. One main noun clause and two subordinate noun clauses. She knew that she had not prepared well and had failed the exam. Now there we have the first main noun clause, she knew. So what did she know? There are two things that she knew, and those two things are on equal level. One was that she had not prepared well, and as a result, she had failed the exam. Now you can see that had not prepared well and had failed the exam are organized in a horizontal level because both are at the same level. They are linked with and. So the subordinate noun clauses are of the equal rank, but they are dependent on the main noun clause she knew. Now we proceed to step 5. One main noun clause and two subordinate adjective clauses. I like the village where I was born and brought up. So we have two adjective clauses describing the village. What is one? I was born there, and the second one describes I was brought up there. I grew up there. So there, I like the village is the main clause. What kind of village is described in the subordinate adjective clauses which are combined to each other with and. Now we proceed to step 6. Now from step 6, one main noun clause and two subordinate adverb clauses. Although Sarat worked hard and managed the company well, he did not get the promotion. So he did not get the promotion is the main clause, and there are two reasons for that. There are two reasons which shows us although Sarat did certain good things, unfortunately he didn't get the expected result. What are the two good things that he did? Sarat worked hard and he managed the company well. But with all that, due to some external reason, maybe some other kind of reason, he did not get the desired result. So these two adverb clauses are arranged on a horizontal order, but in the hierarchy they are below the main clause. Now we move on to step 7. Two main noun clauses and one subordinate noun clause. She knew that she had failed the exam, but she did not tell me. Here there are two independent clauses which are on top of the hierarchy. That is, she knew, but she did not tell me. These are two independent ideas. But there is one thing dependent on she knew, that she had failed the exam. So she had failed the exam is incomplete because it starts with the relative pronoun that she had failed the exam. So this particular subordinate noun clause is independent on the main noun clause she knew. But but there is another independent clause which is not a dependent one for she knew. Now we proceed to step 8. Two main noun clauses and one subordinate adjective clause. I like the village where I was born, but I can't go there now. So there are two independent ideas. One thing is I like the village, but I can't go there now. So there are two independent ideas. But there is one dependent clause which describes the village. What kind of village? My native village, where I was born. So where I was born is an adjective clause which describes the village. Now we come to step 9. Two main noun clauses and one subordinate adverb clause. Although Sarath worked hard, he did not get the promotion and had to leave the company. So there are two things that happened to Sarath. Although he did a good thing, he worked hard. But there are two things that happened to him which he did not deserve. One thing is he did not get the promotion, and as a result he had to leave the company. But he had to leave the company, it has no dependent clauses. So that's why in the hierarchy chart, although Sarath worked hard only is connected to the main idea, he did not get the promotion. But it has nothing to do with had to leave the company in a grammatical way. Now when we come to step 10, I show you a very long sentence. Two main noun clauses, one subordinate noun clause, one subordinate adjective clause, and one subordinate adverb clause. My cousin who emigrated to Australia told me that she would return to the island if the situation improved, but now she has changed her decision. So here it's very interesting. You can see a very long sentence. These are the type of sentences you find in especially newspapers, academic papers, research papers, and various advanced writing. Concerning advanced writing, you find this type of long, complex sentence. Now look at this particular sentence and see how it is formed. So my cousin told me is one thing. She has changed her mind is another thing. She has changed the decision, has no other dependent clauses linked to that. So that is separate. That has nothing to do with that. But my cousin told me has three kinds of details which are connected to the cousin. One thing is the adjective clause which describes what cousin. My cousin who, which cousin? My cousin who emigrated to Australia. Then there is another additional detail of what she told, that she would return to the island. But under one condition, returning to the island is again dependent on another clause, that is if the situation improved. So now you can see how these clauses are formed, how these sentences are formed in a very clear way. You can use this method to show slow learners, especially adult learners who are finding it difficult to read and write English sentences. By using computer application, you can display this particular method. So in the summary, I have given a list of colors to be used. Use yellow for main noun clause, pink for the subordinate noun clause, green, adjective, orange, adverb, and select complex sentences from reading text, newspapers, and other print media. Instruct the students to prepare hierarchy charts and text boxes in the computer to illustrate how the complex sentences are formed. So now, before I wind up this lecture, I would try to explain in Sinhala language, the mother language, the problems involved in complex English syntax. දැන් මම මේ වීඩියෝ එකෙන් සාකච්ඡා කරලා පෙන්නලා දුන්නේ බොහෝ විට සංකීර්ණ ඉංග්‍රීසි භාෂාව සංකීර්ණ වාක්‍ය රට අපේ ළමයින්ට තේරුම් ගන්න ගොඩක් අමාරුයි. ඒ නිසා ඒගොල්ලන් රීඩින් ටෙක්ස්ට්ස් කියවන්න කැමති නැහැ, නිවුස් පේපර්ස් වගේ දේවල්, ඉංග්‍රීසි නිවුස් පේපර්ස්. ඉතින් ඒ වගේ මේගොල්ලන්ට ලියන්න ගියාමත් අපහසුතා ඇති වෙනවා. පැහැදිලිව නිවැරදිව තේරෙන විදිහට ලියා ගන්න අපහසුයි මෙවැනි සංකීර්ණ වාක්‍ය රට. ඉතින් ඒ නිසා මම මේ විශේෂයෙන්ම ටිකක් ප්‍රොෆිෂන්සි ලෙවල් එක කියන්නේ හැකියාව ටිකක් අඩු දුර ළමයින්ට මේක තේරුම් ගැනීම සඳහා පරිගණකයේ තුලින් පාවිච්චි කරා මේ හයරාකි chart කියන එක සහ text boxes කියන ක්‍රම. මේකෙන් මම පෙන්නලා දුන්නා මේ ළමයින්ට සංකීර්ණ වාක්‍ය ගොඩනැගෙන ආකාරය. එතකොට සංකීර්ණ වාක්‍ය සංකීර්ණ වෙලා තියෙන්නේ ප්‍රධාන වාක්‍ය ඛණ්ඩ තියෙනවා. ඊට පසු උපකාරක වාක්‍ය ඛණ්ඩ තුන් වර්ගයක් තියෙනවා. නාමපද ලෙස ක්‍රියා කරන උපකාරක වාක්‍ය ඛණ්ඩ, විශේෂණ පදයක් ලෙස ක්‍රියා කරන උපකාරක වාක්‍ය ඛණ්ඩ සහ නාම ඒ වාක්‍ය ඛණ්ඩ සහ adverbs ලෙස ක්‍රියා කරන ක්‍රියා විශේෂණ ලෙස ක්‍රියා කරන වාක්‍ය ඛණ්ඩ යනුවෙන් වාක්‍ය ඛණ්ඩ උපකාරක වාක්‍ය ඛණ්ඩ තුන් වර්ගයක් තියෙනවා. නාමපද, විශේෂණ පද සහ ක්‍රියා විශේෂණ පද ලෙස ක්‍රියා කරන උපකාරක වාක්‍ය. උපකාරක වාක්‍ය ඛණ්ඩය කියන එක මම මල්ලසේකර මහත්මයාගේ ඩික්ෂනරි එකෙන් අරගත්ත සිංහල ට්‍රාන්ස්ලේෂන් එකක්. ඒතර නිදහස් වාක්‍ය ඛණ්ඩ වලට මම මේ noun clauses නැත්නම් independent යනුවෙන් කියලා තිනවා. එතකොට මේකෙන් අපි බලාගෙන යනකොට අපිට පේනවා මේ අමාරුව නැති කිරීම දුෂ්කරතාවය නැති කිරීම සඳහා අපිට පරිගණකයේ තිබෙන හයරාකි කියන එක charts ක්‍රමය පාවිච්චි කරන්න පුළුවන්. කෙලින් පේලි ලියන්න. The previous video I discussed how to explain the complex syntax through circles. කලින් වීඩියෝ මම පෙන්වු කරා වෘත ආකාරයෙන් මෙම සංකීර්ණ වාක්‍ය රටා පැහැදිලි කර දෙන ආකාරයක්. ඒක ටිකක් ජනප්‍රිය වෙලා තිබෙන බව මට පෙනී ගියා. ඒ නිසා මේ ක්‍රමයක් මම පෙන්වුම් කරන්න අදහස් කරා. මේ ක්‍රමයෙන් එතකොට කාටත් තේරෙනවා මේක මේ මම කියා දුන්න එකද ප්‍රධාන වාක්‍ය ඛණ්ඩ අපි ඉදිරිපත් කරන්න මේ තිරස් අතට සහ ඊළඟට උපකාරක වාක්‍ය ඛණ්ඩ සිරස් ආකාරයෙන් අපිට පෙන්වුම් කරන්න පුළුවන්. එතකොට මේක අපේ සම්බන්ධ වචන නැත්නම් link words text boxes ප්‍රයෝජනෙට අරගෙන අපිට පෙන්වන්න පුළුවන් ළමයින්ට මේ වාක්‍ය ගොඩනගෙන ආකාරය. එතකොට වර්ණ රටා පාවිච්චි කරනවා මේ හතර වර්ගයට වෙනස්ව. ඊළඟට ඔයගලන්ට පුළුවන් මේ දීලා තියෙන උදාහරණ වලින් මම පෙන්눔 කර දීලා තියෙනවා මම කොහොමද මේ සංකීර්ණ වාක්‍ය ගොඩනගන්නේ කියලා. ඒක බලලා මේ ළමයින් සමග මේ ක්‍රමය පන්ති කාමරය තුල අත්හදා බලන්න. So finally I would like to thank you for watching this video. Please share this with others, and I would like very much if you could comment on this method, and also please subscribe to my channel to get more information on new methods of learning English as a second language. Thank you.